One of the best things about talking with people from different cultures is that I get to see things from a completely different perspective. The fact that Claudia is so highly educated, scientific in her approach, and experienced in a completely different working environment to me makes for fascinating insight. Having lived a few years in Italy, I have of course picked up some of the culture, and that helps to understand things a little more easily. Yet when Claudia talks about everyday things, it seems as though I should be more aware than I am. These are, after all, everyday things, right? But making small improvements to our routines can have significantly positive effects on our physical well-being and our ability to handle stressful situations. Claudia focuses on some of these, and she makes so much sense. She also describes some of her observations raising a young child, and it's fascinating to hear that in situations such as these, this pandemic, I mean, perhaps children are better prepared to adapt to the world than adults. Thank you, Claudia, for your time. It's always great to speak with you. Claudia, it's really great to have you back, and I'm very, very happy to be able to have this chat with you. So, welcome back.
Thank you, Zach. I'm happy to be here again and talk with you.
Yeah, thank you. It's brilliant. And I know that you are such a busy person, and so I appreciate it all the more because obviously you are involved with the family, but lots and lots of work to do too. So I very much appreciate your time. So thank you very much. Yeah, and how are things going generally in Italy? So I have a few sort of people who I communicate with regards to sort of life out there during the pandemic. Do you feel that you're coming to the end of the pandemic, or is Italy still very much in the grips of lockdown?
Yeah, I think that hopefully we can say that we are maybe coming to an end, I hope. Yeah, actually, I was struggling at the beginning of this year because of, rules related to this, to the management of COVID in schools. So we had a lot of quarantine time at home and I'm working at home. I'm smart working always. But now it seems to change. It seems that the situation is improving. So I'm just hope that with the spring we can feel, let's say, more free to see people, to let our kids go to school and so on. So I'm crossing my finger.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah.
And when was the last time you were in the office? Just out of pure curiosity.
No, actually, I'm employed as I'm working at home. I'm always in smart working. So
So your contract is to work from
yeah,
home.
my contract proceeded. Yeah, and it's good for me because I can manage better my family, my time, and my job as well. But yeah, sometimes you feel like, you lose a part of your job in the office, your common job in the office. So talking with the colleagues, exchange with them, but I feel lucky. All in all, I feel lucky to have this option.
Yeah, I mean it's strange to consider that the possibility may not even have existed before COVID. So I mean I don't know. Would you have got this kind of contract before COVID? Do you think?
I'm not sure actually, because a lot of companies didn't consider this kind of working way of working. But now I think it should be common. It should be an option for workers because it's very, you can be very flexible and be effective at the same time. So I think it's a very good solution, especially for families.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've read a few sort of psychological studies and articles that say, yeah, earlier on in the pandemic, people were saying, "Oh, I want to do hybrid, so a bit at work, a bit at home."
Yeah.
But then people have started to think, "Oh no, but when I'm at home, I don't want to go to the office the next day because I'm so comfortable at home." So, do you think maybe then the best situation is either 100% in the office or 100% at home?
Yeah. I can, in this way, I realized that I can save a lot of time I don't have to commute. I can use instead of having meal, for instance, I can have a workout at home because late in the day I have my kid that comes back home, so I don't have time to do that, and it's very important for me. So all in all, people can save time and be effective.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting because that kind of combines pretty much with the topic that you wanted to talk about with regards to sort of daily habits. I mean, do you want to introduce that then a bit?
Yeah, because lately I thought a lot about my habits, my behaviors, because of some changing that I'm implemented in my life and others that I would like to do. And I realized that society is changing, our planet is changing, so we are basically supposed to change as well. And so I started questioning a little bit the way how we change. So how to be effective in this, how much time do we need to build a new habit, a new behavior. So there's a lot of questions that we can just that we can have on this topic. And so first I realized when it's really a basic thing, but it's true, that in my opinion we don't give the right value to the single tiny little improvement that we have in our life. We just see black or white, but I don't know if you relate to this, but there's a lot of thousand shades in between. So we just think that if we don't reach our results, we are miserable. We cannot find happiness if we don't reach our goals. But I mean, there's a lot in between. We can really appreciate the small improvement that we have day by day and give them the right value instead of just change our life from one day to another. So this was my first thought about this topic. And sometimes, I just look at my toddler. My kid, they know everything already. They can teach us everything. Yeah. So they say if you read some about this topic about how kids change, they generally tell that in 2 weeks they can build a new behavior or a new habit. And it's impressive because it's really like that, and they just need not much time to change. and you can see day by day how they change, how they make an improvement. And so I was really impressed by this, and also looking at my life, how sometimes I had to introduce some new behavior, and afterwards they became really part of my identity of my life. And I think this is it's very natural when we really give the right value to the daily habits, sorry. And instead of just focusing on the goals, on the results, to be on the performance. I don't know if do you relate? Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, to be honest, I was just really happy to let you talk there, because you made so many great points. I've sort of numbered things down according to what you just said. So, the first point, black and white, I think you're absolutely correct. The world is completely non-binary. This idea that things can fit into one side or another just simply misses the point. Nature doesn't give us just two options. The question is whether we are prepared to see all of the varieties that nature presents us with. And it seems like sort of human nature for the last few decades, at least, maybe even a lot longer, we try to simplify things too much because we think mathematics should be simplified. So then other things should be simplified too. But that's not how nature works. So I completely agree with you. There are always a variety of options, a variety of possibilities. And sometimes it's good to see them.
Yeah, it seems a very obvious concept, trivial, but I think that most of people do not think like that. I mean, me as well. I think that I can be happy just with something, or I'm gonna be sad just without this. But it doesn't work like that. So sometimes we just need to take time and think about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, I'm gonna talk of something very basic, but you know that 3 months ago I had a health problem, so I've been to the hospital, I had surgery and so on. When I recovered, I decided to introduce workouts in my life, so 3 times or 4 times a week. And yeah, after 3 months, I'm doing that, and I'm very. I think I have a very good discipline in that. And but I mean, my goal wasn't to, look like better or to prepare myself for the summer or nothing like that at all. It was just to feel stronger, feel better, and have an healthy body. And yeah, I realized that by giving the right importance to every single workout that I do every day or 3 times a week, and I can really maintain these habits in the long period. So now I'm doing it, and I'm going to do it in the future, and because it became part of my life. So I think I want to be an healthy person, a stronger person, to be also available to my kids, to play, to make everything, do everything in my life. So it's now part of. I feel like that, and so I think that I can keep doing that in the long period, and it's really impressive. I think because I mean, it's a very simple thing. I'm not. I don't want to change the word with, with talking about this topic, but it's very simple. But we can apply this to everything in our life.
Well, they
So
say healthy mind, healthy body, right? So as there is a
yeah,
combination between the two, isn't there?
yeah, and I'm feeling that I'm approaching 40. So
Are you? Wow. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, and so yeah. So I think
Yeah.
it's easier when you internalize your habits. So you just think, "Oh, I want to be," and then you have, the answer.
Mm.
And yeah, I really think it's true for many other topics. I don't know if you've seen social media that in January it was Veganuary. It's a social event
Yeah.
that promotes, vegetarian and vegan lifestyle. And yeah, I started to be very curious about it because I studied food science and technology, so I like this topic. I like to go through this topic, and yeah, sometimes I found, the message of these people to promote this lifestyle that I found personally very interesting and something that everyone should, I mean, at least try. But I found their message to that I mean it's a huge message. You have to. They say, okay, it's to save animals, to save our planet, to be more sustainable. But it's difficult to, I mean, implement this change in our life, but just by thinking about uh, animals, planet, sustainability. I mean, we are talking about very concepts that are very far from our daily life.
Mm. I mean, with regards to the vegan or veganuary or veganuary, I don't know how they say it even. I've heard of it. I
Yeah.
haven't actually done or committed myself to it. However, as a family, we eat a lot less meat.
Okay.
Um, and on top of that, we're also eating these sort of vegan substitutes for salami or for ham or prosciutto, as you know it. And so we incorporate these far more into our daily diets. So we're not vegans because I mean I eat bread, so milk and so on, but at least vegan alternatives to meats. And I have to say, over the last few years, the the variety of products on offer have greatly increased, but also they're really nice. As in, it's not just simply I'll eat this because it's vegan, so you eat it and you consume it and you're like, oh God, I have to eat this rubbish. It's actually really good. Um, but what's also very interesting for me is because I mean we're Armenians, so my dad grew up in Lebanon. So we grew up with things like hummus, with what they call mutabal, which is basically hummus but with aubergine,
Yeah, I know.
tabbouleh, and these are all naturally vegan. So that the products that are used, and so it's really quite easy to make that switch, even though I'd never considered it to be vegan, if you know what I mean.
But are you the fact that you introduced this kind of food in your life is based on, I mean, on your idea of sustainability, of, I mean, planet changing, or
This was part of it. That was a part of the decision-making process because I mean, I'm not familiar too much with the environmental impact, but my wife works in environmental or has worked for sort of environmental institutes. And so they're very much the impact these kinds of foods, salamis, and meats and so on, obviously it's quite substantial. So therefore the switch made sense too.
Yeah. And do you feel better? Do you think you feel better by?
I definitely don't feel worse, as in
That's
I'm,
the point.
yeah, as in what you said before, that, if I have this, I'm happy, but if I don't have this, I'm still happy, um, I pretty much feel the same, as in, but I think that's important, as in, it still tastes good and I still feel healthy afterwards. I think that's basically the effect they want to achieve. They're not saying
Yeah.
vegan makes you feel, wow, I can fly, but they're
Mhm.
basically saying to you, this is a viable alternative, and it is.
Yeah, you can have the same, more or less the same life, even without meat or derivatives. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you, I've introduced a bit more exercise into my weekly regime. So I mean, I've always played sports, so either football or basketball. But because of the pandemic and because our basketball team had a period of time where they could not meet, I've started running as well. So I completely understand when you say, you needed to add an extra habit to your daily routine, which did not exist before. For me, that also includes running. And, you're right. I feel really good after a run. It hurts, but it
Yeah.
feels good, doesn't it? It's a good pain.
Yeah. 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 I think you can. I really appreciate, the feeling that I have after a workout or a run or whatever. And yeah, I think that's the reason why I do it as much as I can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And also I find it also very interesting when you talk about small improvements, this idea of revolutionizing our lives can be very troubling for people. It's like, but I don't want to completely change my life. I'm happy. But, when you say, yeah, but to change things bit by bit, it's almost like introducing an agile approach to improving your life, isn't it? We don't need to make big changes, just little ones.
Yeah, I mean, instead of the message from society is always different because they push us to change our life upside down,
Mm.
And but I'm convinced that we can really have benefit from little improvements because at a precise time we can't know the effect that we are going to have in the long period, but I'm sure that a single improvement matters in the long time. Then you can really reach a huge result after a year, 2 years or more probably. So, and yeah, it's impressive how this really apply to every project of your life, every topic or, I mean, whatever. So for instance, I'm trying to, sometimes it can also apply to parenting because, in this generation of parenting, experts say that you should break the cycles. I mean, we tend to behave like our parents were with us.
Mm.
So my mom screamed all the time, for instance.
Okay.
And yeah, I mean, I think I'm a good person. They did a good job with me. So, mom, don't worry. But I'm trying to think about and see how I behave with my kids. Do I scream often, or I'm trying to approach him gently in a gentle way, and so little by little you can change it if you feel that you need to change. but it's something that you cannot change from a day to another. You have to, let's say, educate your mind, your way of talking to people, to kids, to interact with others. Yeah, so it's and it's important to say, it's true for workouts, for everything. But the day that you decide, okay, I'm doing this, but you don't feel like to do this, it's important to find the right motivation, because what you are doing today, it's important for the future. So
Yeah. I'm completely with you on this, and I also found the observation that you made earlier intriguing about how, even within just a couple of weeks, that children's have the capacity to improve, that children can change their habits or can completely introduce a new habit almost naturally. Do you think that we as adults have somehow lost that capacity to introduce change?
Yeah, we have lost everything. I mean, compared
No.
to really, compared to when we born, we know already everything. But when we start to interact with society, with other people in the society, I think we lose this natural capacity. So we have to re-educate ourselves, and I think so. That's why they just learn everything so quickly, or just can change quickly without any problems, and it's more difficult for us.
I mean, how can we do it, and how can we go back to remembering that these sort of lost skills that we had to be able to adapt more quickly? Is there a fix for this?
I don't know. I think we have, of course, to change our mindset. We have to be flexible, and we have to think in a simple way. Sometimes we just overthink. We just lose our path. Because of course we have got a lot of topic that we have to deal with in our society. So it's very difficult sometimes to just be us and act. Yeah.
So on the one hand, it's because there is a slightly alternative vision in this case, because at the beginning, when we were talking about non-binary, we were saying we shouldn't simplify things so much. But in this case, we're saying, but there are some things that we do need to simplify, because we try to over-explain and over-complicate things. So there's obviously a different approach to varying realities or various realities. I guess to make things simple as you said, it's a question of mindset. It's a question of flexibility. We have to accept the reality that there are many different options before us. But the simplicity is in identifying what do we really want and what do we really need. And maybe these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves, and then try to pursue a way or a path that allows us to reach these goals.
I think so. I don't have anything to add, because it's really my thought.
And also, I haven't studied the psychology of these things, but I'm sure that there are these studies that have been conducted and perhaps recognized over hundreds of years. The difference between need and want. and how, and also the effort in which we engage. So if you want something, then you do a certain, you make a certain amount of effort. But if you need something, then the effort naturally increases, or perhaps it should increase. Um, do you feel, however, that because we have now become so dependent on technology, that we've kind of lost sight of what we need because we are so
We can have
accustomed to seeing
everything.
what we want? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, we can. I think that today we can have really everything and quickly. We, I mean, and we become impatient because people doesn't answer us in 30 seconds. So we can really have everything very, very quickly. And but probably we do not need all this stuff. So that's why I was talking about have a simple mindset, because probably we just need a few things and the rest is, something that we want but we can survive without. But it's really normal today to want more and more and really, yeah, more quickly. So we should be careful
Yeah.
about this. Yeah.
I mean, there's always been this sort of saying in English, "Be careful what you wish for." But maybe that's more because of a warning, because they say, "Yeah, be careful because you might get it." And I guess getting it, there are also consequences to getting everything that you want.
Yeah.
So in essence, what we're also saying is that we have to actually value what we do have, and not necessarily always try to reach for more things because they're not always necessary.
Yeah. And yeah, coming back to kids, this is true. Again, they can play with just nothing, but they feel happy. They feel very, it's amazing for them. And on the other side, we need a lot of things to feel maybe happy, and we don't see the shades of this. So I'm sorry, I'm talk about the kids because I'm really observe them sometimes with a scientific eye. It's always my approach in life.
Sure.
And but you can discover a lot of things and really learn a lot about life and how to approach life as an adult.
No, please, you absolutely do not need to apologize for that. I think observing how our children behave, act, and they are so, as you said, easily satisfied with such simple things. I remember, and so many times it's happened that we bought our child or children a present, and they take the present out of the box, and then they play with the box.
Yeah.
You think, 1 minute, the gift is, we paid for that, and they're here playing with the box.
But the
And
box is more interesting.
yeah, the box becomes interesting, and it's just, I mean, there's nothing that I can say to explain it to me. But the reality is, the box, it has a certain fascination that they can see, which I can't, and that's my fault because I can't see it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah. But there are also like adult groups where, to deal with stress, they say play games. Yeah. Are you stressed? Cool. Go home, play a board game, or form a
Yeah.
group and play a board game with your friends, because then you forget about the stress. Stress can also be optional. I mean, play a game.
Okay. I take it as an advice.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I've never really been a big person for playing these lots of these board games, but because of Corona, and because of my family, so my son and wife, it's every day we have to play a game. As in, there has to be a game of some sort played every day. If it's a board game or a card game
But
or
it's changed
dominoes.
every day, or it's always.
There's one fixed card game that we play. It's a French card game called Belote. I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
played Belote.
I already heard about it.
You heard of it, yeah? Because you can
Yeah,
play this with 2, 3, or 4 players. So
yeah. I
depending
think
on the
that French are good at with a board game.
Yeah, they're good with games, I guess, generally speaking. And so this one is quite easy because you play until 101 points, and then it's done, and then everybody's like, "Hey, cool, I won," and then you do something else. Yeah, so it's good. But I mean, yeah. Do you have any fixed games that you play, or not too many?
My son is 3 years old,
Okay,
so we are starting playing some games, structured games. But most of the time is we are talking about very basic
sure.
games that I mean we have fun the same,
Mm,
like playing with ball and
yeah, of course.
so but when I play with him, I really can focus just on these, and maybe I feel less stressed, or it's really a way to take your time and
Mm.
relax. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another thing that I've heard lots of people say, especially mothers actually, is have fun and don't feel guilty about having fun, because it's easy to forget that, okay, you're a parent, but you're not only a parent, you're also a person,
Yeah.
of your own, and you deserve to enjoy yourself too. So it's good to do so without the guilt.
Yeah. Yeah. It's right.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, what can I say, Claudia? It's such a pleasure being able to talk to you about these kinds of human, social, developmental topics, as well as some of the other sort of complicated societal issues. Yeah, I'd love to be able to further talk with you about similar issues. And I mean, you're brilliant in coming up with these ideas. So I find it very easy to talk with you. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you to you. Thanks.
And
Yeah.
next time, I will be interested in hearing what development you've made also with your kid, and what new observations you have
Okay.
that I can learn from, if that's okay.
Sure.
Wonderful. All right. Well, good luck with your new habits, your new routines, and also I hope with spring comes freedom
Yeah. I hope so too.
too. All the best. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Two and a mic.